Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Wednesday morning service. We are so happy that you're here. Our building is closed, but we are very much open as a center. And as such, being closed, we are offering many ways for you to get in touch with us that ask you to get in touch with us first, your email address, or in some way that we can give you the Zoom links that you need to be a part of so many things that we're doing, as well as to be able to receive the prayers and videos that Dr. Moira sends out weekly. So share with us your information. We would love to have it. Any messages, any ideas, we are open to whatever you want to share with us. But we have activities that are going on, and so we're going to highlight the ones that are especially coming in the next week. Later today, this evening actually, is September the 2nd, Dr. Moira is continuing her class using Science of Mind in the world and in the world today. So if you want to be a part of this class, just get us some information and we will give you a lot of information so that you can be prepared for this class. There are a number of students in the class and they are eager to move through what they're going forward with. And we also know that we're having the virtual prayer room tomorrow evening for the last time in this format. Veronica Silva has been doing this virtual prayer room since March, and the last one is tomorrow night. It's at 7 p.m. in the evening, and so you're welcome to also be a part of it. Now, what's also happening tomorrow at 11 a.m. is this class that Veronica Silva is also teaching called Your Aladdin's Lamp. It's at 11 a.m. in the morning, and she's eager to have students in the class. Again, it's a Zoom class, so we need to get your information to get you the link if you're not already in the class. So that's a great learning experience. Now, coming up Friday, so that's September the 4th, we have an in-person experience at Wilson Park. Since pandemic, we have had the labyrinth at Wilson Park near the tree house. And so you're just welcome to come. It is from 1 to 4 in the afternoon, and you're invited to be there and enjoy the labyrinth with others. Bring a chair, blanket, and of course your mask, and you're welcome to participate with the labyrinth. So as we look ahead to next week, Monday is a holiday, and Dr. Moira's Tea and Chat will be taking a holiday as well. We also come back to Wednesday, which means we start at 9:45 a.m. with a book reading, The Power of Decision, and we are reading through that book while sharing the book on the screen, so you don't have to have your copy open and looking down to participate in this class. It's a nice opportunity, and of course we will have the Wednesday morning service at 11 as well. And then Thursday of next week, we are going to have spiritual discussion in Wilson Park, so we get to do that in person. Again, a chair, blanket, whatever the weather calls for, and masking so that we can all participate in spiritual discussion. This is like the ones we've had here in person before the pandemic time, and we're continuing them in person at Wilson Park, and you're invited to be there. So before we close, we want to share with you opportunities to donate to this center, because we are very much open and eager to expand our services even more. And we would love to have you share your prosperity with us as we move forward. And we also know that there are many, many ways you can share with us in terms of your understanding of how things are in the world. Sometimes that's very useful, and we very much want to hear from you. So as we move forward today, looking again at our contact information, you'll see the website. You will also see our email address. That's info@redondocsl.org, and we hope that you will communicate with us. And next, Dr. Moira is coming up to the platform to continue our Wednesday morning service our midweek spiritual inspiration. Dr. Moira.
Again, and I must say that Wednesday does come around very, very quickly. So here we are in Casual Wednesday. So welcome into the sanctuary, all of our beautiful family and friends, and those of you who may be finding us for the first time. We're delighted if there is anybody new looking in, and we trust that when we're finished being in each other's company, we'll all feel the better for it. And maybe we could, all of us, share this with a friend or a neighbor, and it might just be a comfort, it might just be a word that they needed to hear in the day if they listen into a program like this. So we are, my dear ones, we are just strong, we are trucking ahead, we are doing everything possible to meet the needs of today and to be relevant in today and to make the difference in today and to be the difference in today. And I'm talking to all of us, you and me and everyone, because that's what is ours to be, and we can be all of that and then some. So we are going to begin our time together in the sanctuary the way we always intend to, and that is prayerfully, mindfully, consciously, awake, alert, energized, and ready for something new and wonderful that could probably happen through and by means of any one of us. Some great clarity, some great idea, some great decision, whatever that is, or just a little kiss from Spirit, you know? That's always a wonderful and good thing, because that's how Spirit is, actually. Very tender, very embracing, and very caring, and very giving. And that's what we're going to steep ourselves in right here and right now. So as you know from listening, I find that one of the quickest way to get ourselves centered, to center ourselves in prayerfulness and mindfulness and consciousness, is through the breath. That's the open door to take us into that other state that is within us, around us, and about us, and everywhere present, but it's a different dimensional experience. And so to center ourselves in the awareness of that, and to take ourselves out of the world of the exterior with all of its distractions, etc., the busyment of the embodiment, as I like to call it, so that we can enter into the realm of the absolute, and at one-ment, and peace, and completeness, and wholeness, and that wonderful sense of being. Just simply being, which we in our human busyment know very little about, because we are human doings for the most part. Now we want to become our spiritual being. You see? That's the difference. And that's what we mean by prayerfulness, by contemplation, by meditation, by visualization, whatever that is for you and for me. It's otherworldly. It truly is otherworldly. It's not of this world. It's not of any material world. It is a presence. It is a pulsation, a radiation, a sense of simply being, not being anything or anyone, but being all of the life and the light and the beauty and the grace and the wisdom and the joy of simply being. So join me now in taking a conscious, connected breath. So we breathe in fully, 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 filling up our lungs to its full capacity, holding just for a moment, and then releasing gently all of that breath, emptying the lungs as much as possible, and doing that in a cycle, at least of 3 counts for now. And so as I breathe and as I allow my body to settle into the rhythm of breath, I bring my mind to rest, I bring my body to rest, and I simply allow myself that sense of readiness and open receptivity to listening, and to being, listening, just listening. And as I focus on my breath, I breathe in peace. And I breathe out its love. I breathe in peace. And I breathe out its love. I breathe in peace. I breathe out its love. That just allow myself, the self of myself, to show up. I am choosing to be an audience with my great self, to be in the presence of my great self, and to listen to my great self. Enjoy in simple, simple presence and joy. Just listening, just listening, just listening. And as I listen, eventually I hear the sounds of the universe, the sweet music of the spheres, and I hear the vibration of life itself as it breathes me, as it has its being by means of me, as it thinks as me, as it vibrates as me, until I know there is no me. There's only life, one life, God life, whole life. And that life is always and ever the life of the self of me that is in unison and flowing with the one life. And that life moves through my physicality on three-dimensional plane. It moves through the mind of me on the three-dimensional plane. It moves through the heart of me on the three-dimensional plane. It moves through the soul of me that touches all planes. And I know for myself, as I know for the self of all life, all is well. All is well. And in the stateless, formless, faceless experience of life that I am, I vision, I see, I embrace the beautiful blue-green gem of a planet Earth, where I have chosen to have my physical experience for now, in this now moment. And I see not only the pulsating light that I am, but all of the myriads of lights that exist, all radiating that grace, that amazing life force, that amazing light force, that amazing love force penetrating that beautiful planet, filling it from the outside in and the inside out, so that it becomes one pulsating orb of peace and goodwill and unity and harmony and oneness, so that all that is within it, on it, above it, around it, and about it is in the movement of transformation as it is seen and experienced from the light that is, as its true self. The earth is pulsating, vibrating to the music of the spheres and the pulsation of the divine and the light of its wisdom and the power of its love and the awesomeness of the realization of the oneness of all life. Healing happening, mending happening, fixing happening. Everything coming together as it is meant to, in that one whole sense of peace and unity and harmony and love. That's the power of the true word, felt, radiating, declared. And so I simply breathe and pulsate and vibrate as the nature, as the essence of that which created me, the one. As does all of life, when I know it, when I see it, when I feel it, when I declare it. I have loved you with an everlasting love. You are mine. And in my nature, you will always dwell forever and ever. And so, I come back now into form. I pick up the body again. I put on the mind that was in Christ Jesus, the Buddha mind. And I breathe consciously again. And as I breathe out a blessing. As I breathe in a blessing. And I declare right now that every breath that I breathe consciously or unconsciously is a dedication to blessing going out and blessing coming in. I am that I am. And that I am is the creation of the source as its own self in form, endowed with its power. That power for good in the universe, greater than everything is, greater than I am, that I am privileged to use and am gifted with the understanding that that power uses me to express itself through me. How sweet it is. May I always remember. May I always stay awake. May I always delight in being that expression. For indeed, to that which created all of life, and each individual expression of itself in all of life, be the power, be the glory, always and ever, as I, in absolute faith, proclaim. And so it is. And so it is. And so indeed it is. There you are, you see. That's all we have to be. That's all we have to know. That's all we have to feel to bring about great changes in our own lives and in the life of all life. Well, who knew? Now we know, don't we? We do. So the beauty and the grace of this is I can, for some moments in my day, know for sure in this state. I'm not all my mess-ups. I'm not all my mistakes. I'm not all the stuff I didn't do that I wanted to do, and I'm not all the stuff I did that I didn't want to do. I'm not. This is all a great comical farce, this life on planet Earth, because it's mostly illusionary. And the only time it's not is when I'm in touch with the source of my being and I have united with that source. And so that's the joy of being able to be masterful in our lives. I can choose to be masterful or I can choose to be a victim. What do you want to choose, and what do you choose mostly? Remember, 51% of the time is the important number. 51% masterful me or victimized me. What is it, my dear ones? I don't know for you. I only know for myself, but I do know it's a job to stay masterful. And it needs work. It definitely needs work. And persistence and consistency, determination. And that takes us home again to where we belong and where the heart is always yearning to be. You have made us for yourself, O Lord, and our hearts cannot find rest until they rest in thee, said the great Augustine. Let me tell you, he made enough mistakes in his own lifetime. But he got to the stage in his life where it was a true love affair between him and the divine. Late have I loved thee, O beauty so ancient and so new. Late have I loved thee was one of his prayers too, his declarations. It's never too late, you see. He was the one whose mother always prayed for his conversion every single day. St. Monica. And he knew that. He was his mother's son. You know, he was mommy's boy in a way. And he appreciated his mother's prayers. But then when he started to really get to the point where he was open and ready to turn his life around and turn over a new leaf, his first prayer was, "Oh Lord, please make me a good man, but not today, wait until tomorrow." I think we're all a bit like Augustine in many ways. But anyway, when I was thinking, what is it that Spirit wishes to have us focus on today, maybe for the rest of the week? And my hand came to Florence Scovel Shinn's beautiful, simple little book, Your Word is Your Wand. She was the one that became famous, first of all, for the game of life and how to play it. I love this woman. She is just crisp, clear, and to the point. She just said it like it was. And so the page I opened up actually was the very first page. Your word is your wand, it says, and I want to share this with you. Man's word is his wand. Now remember, all of these books were written a long time ago when man was meant to mean every single body. That's the way it was interpreted then. It wasn't that they were consciously, or I don't know, maybe they were if they were men, I don't think so. This is a woman writing. And they weren't consciously leaving us ladies out. It was just the way of the time. So don't get too perturbed about it. Just it's a simple thing, make allowances. Man's word is his wand filled with magic and power. Jesus Christ emphasized the power of the word. By your words shall you be justified, and by your words shall you be condemned. Strong words. I always kind of balk at that. And death and life are in the power of the tongue, says Scripture. What is your word? And remember, your word is not just what you're saying, because what you're saying comes out of the thought you have been thinking, the feeling you have been entertaining, and the conviction you've arrived at, your beliefs, etc. That then comes out as words. And their death or their life. That's how we have to be so mindful of what we're saying. And especially in this day and age, my dear ones, but not just in this day and age. If we were more careful with our words before, we wouldn't be in the state we're in today, see. So, in other words, are your words life or death? Are your words negating or affirming? Are your words consciously spoken or unconsciously spoken? As we hear all the time, the old cliche, talk is cheap. My mother often used to say, when all is said and done, more is said than done. And it was later on in life I got to appreciate my mother's momilies. Those ladies had wisdom, I can tell you. So we're asked to look at ourselves today through the way we're speaking, what we believe, what we feel, what we're thinking, what we're imagining, what we're concluding, what we are convicted of. Let me tell you, if you really study your convictions and your beliefs, you'll see that very few of them are your own. Most of them are imported from outside. So it might be a good thing to find out what it is we truly believe ourselves. And she goes on, so man has power to change an unhappy condition by waving over it the wand of his word. The wand of his word. Flick of the wand. Like that. You can change, I can change. Through the way we're thinking, speaking, feeling, and doing and being. The word will change it. In the place of sorrow appears joy. In the place of sickness appears health. In the place of lack appears plenty when we watch our words. For example, now, and I love this example, a woman came for a treatment for prosperity. She possessed just $2 in all the world. I said, we bless the $2 and know that you have the magic power of spirit. It can never be depleted. As money goes out, immediately money returns and comes in under grace in perfect ways. I see always crammed, jammed with money, yellow bills, green bills, pink checks, blue checks, white checks, gold, silver, and currency. I see it bulging with abundance. And then the lady replies, I feel my bag is heavy with money already, and was so filled with faith that she gave me one of her $2 as a love offering. I did not dare refuse it or support a sense of lack in her. as it was important that I hold the picture of plenty. Shortly afterwards, she was made a gift of $6,000. Fearless faith and the spoken word brought it to pass. And these are not made-up stories. These are true stories, and there are bazillions of them. But it was the conviction. She could feel it. She was one with what she was hearing. She was sucking up all the words of declaration. She was agreeing with all those words of affirmation. She was seeing that purse of hers absolutely crammed and filled to capacity with great, wonderful abundance. And it paid off. She was blessed as a result of it. The affirmation of the magic purse is very powerful, and for men it can be a wallet or a man bag nowadays, as it brings a vivid picture to mind. It is impossible not to see your purse or wallet filled with money when using the words crammed and jammed. So remember that for the future. Cram it and jam it, okay? All the good, all the love, all the whatever. Cram it and jam it. The imaging faculty is the creative faculty, and it is important to choose words which bring a flash of the fulfillment of the demand to mind. Never force a picture in your mind. Let the divine idea flash into your conscious mind, and then the student is working according to the divine design. Say it, state it, allow it, accept it, be willing to know it's happening, and it will. You don't have to do the Rodin thing, the heavy thinking stuff. Ooh, I saw so many of his statues up in, I think it was up in Northern California. Be careful and understand this once and for all. If you're efforting, if you are struggling, if you are forcing in your declarations, nothing is happening except you're blocking the good that you desire. That's why before you declare your word, you get as restful as you can in your mind and in your emotions. You bring all that down, you center that. And then when you're feeling that peacefulness, that's when you declare. That's when you declare, because there's no dissonant energy stopping it and blocking it or fogging it over. There's no struggle in spirit. There's no efforting in spirit. None. And we on planet Earth sometimes think if we're not efforting, if we're not forcing, if we're not struggling, we're not doing it right. It's the other way around, actually. That's why unlearning is harder than just learning something for the first time. Never force that picture. Jesus Christ said, "Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." You have to get to the point where you can quietly, peacefully see it, know it, believe it, then state it, own it, claim it, and go about your life as though it was already so. I know it's not easy, but with practice, it does get easier until it becomes easy. Masterfulness, that's what it's about. This means that man must know the truth of every situation which confronts him. See the situation, see the conditions, see the challenge, and then decide, okay, this is how this is going to turn out, and then declare it. That's why you always hear me say, whatever it is, some good is coming out of this. I know it, I know it, I know it, but I can't pretend. I can't hope. She tells another story in this about a hope chest. Long time ago, ladies used to put together what was called a hope chest. And that meant that when they got to be marriageable age, they would start collecting the hope chest, and ladies would get together, God help us, and embroider bedspreads and all the rest of it, setting up for domesticity and a life of domesticity. And the hope chest was a wonderful thing, and it was a very joyous thing when the ladies got together and so on. And so there was one person in her class that was always trying to ask her questions that she couldn't answer, but he never succeeded. She called him the light of the class. And one day he said to her, you know, how is it that so many women who want to get married, don't end up getting married? And she said, well, that's because they prepare for hope chests instead of faith chests. If they had been preparing a faith chest, it would be different. And it's a metaphor for mind, you know? So, I mean, we learn something every single day. I'm glad we're still not making hope chests, by the way. Now we just put out a list there and say, these are the things and here's the store and blah, blah, blah. I tell you, the ladies in the past didn't have it so easy, did they? But they lived great lives. Pioneering women. Fantastic. And we need to retain the pioneering spirit. Okay. This means that man must know the truth in every situation, in every struggle, in every challenge, in every condition. There is no truth in lack or limitation. He waves over it the wand of his word, and the wilderness rejoices and blossoms as a rose. That's what she found, and helped others to find it too. Fear. Now wait for this. I'll probably read this twice. Fear, doubt, anxiety, anger, resentment, and all other negatives pull down the cells of the body. Pull down the cells of the body. Shock the nervous system and are the causes of disease and disaster. Now she spits it out very clearly. This is what negativity does to us. That's why the book was written that's this thick. None of us can afford the luxury of one negative thought. It's a good book, easy to read. Thick, though. I'm going to read that again. Fear, doubt, anxiety, anger, resentment, and all the other negatives pull down the cells of the body, shock the nervous system, and are the causes of disease and disaster. Wouldn't you think we would have realized this by now, especially those of us who are dedicated to spiritual unfolding and never miss an opportunity to keep our mouths closed, as we're all endeavoring to do in this community, unless what we're saying is uplifting, advancing, affirming, rising and raising up life, expanding it, throwing spiritual oxygen out there instead of negativity that sucks it out of us. Wouldn't you think we'd be better able to get this by now? And we are. That's the beauty of it. We are better able, and we are doing it and being it more and more and more. We have to stay committed, though, fully. Happiness and health must be earned by absolute control of the emotional and mental natures. Now listen to this. Power moves but is never moved. When man stands calm and serene, has a good appetite, feels centered and happy, when appearances are against him, he has reached mastery. Then he has power to rebuke the winds and the waves, to control conditions. See, that's what gets us. That's what trips us up and makes us fall on our faces. When we are in a condition, a situation, a challenge, and everything goes to hell in a handbasket, and all the fears and anxieties come back again, all the doubts, and all the sense of helplessness and hopelessness pours back in again. When you and I can face into a storm and see it for what it is and know at the middle of that storm the I is, and I'm going to face into that storm until I get to that I, and then ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-dum-bum, bum. Stillness, peace, calm, wholeness, completeness, fullness, oneness of being. It's well worth the endeavor. And I say endeavor, not efforting. It's worth the endeavor, not the effort, the endeavor. To be fearlessly facing into that and saying, you're not the boss of me. You do not have power over me. I am the power of the one that sent me. And the power of the one that created me is at the center core of my being. And that's what I'm owning now. I am the place where God shows up. I am its living, moving beingness. I am its point of light, and I am its point of power. And you bring that to bear on the situation, condition, circumstance, challenge, whatever. And nothing can withstand that faith and that power, because it's not your power. It's your faith in the power, but it's not your power. You are using the one power that is yours to use. Gosh, oh golly gee, if 51% of us could do that, this truly would be paradise in every way. Your word is your wand, and by it you can transmute apparent failures into success. You can know universal supply is endless and imitate your true nature, be it. And all your needs manifest instantly on the external. For example, a woman at sea awoke in the morning hearing the foghorn blowing. A dense fog had settled on the ocean with no apparent signs of clearing. She immediately spoke the word, "There are no fogs in divine mind, so let the fog be lifted. I give thanks for the sun." Soon the sun came out. For man has dominion over the elements, over all created things. Every person has power to lift the fog in his life. It may be a fog of lack of money, love, happiness, health, and anything else. In these moments, give thanks for the sun. Simple, 2.5 pages, loaded with wisdom, and loaded with simplicity. I mean, there's nothing difficult about that for you and for me to get. Very simply put. So, these are books we have here in our store, and these are books we really recommend, especially for beginners, because the language is simple and easy and available to us to understand immediately. So, my dear ones, we're asked today to go on a word diet, and only to digest words and speak words that nourish and nurture us, that are for our health and well-being in mind, body, heart, and soul, and in the body of our affairs. So we're up to the challenge or we're not, and I'm knowing that we are. So that our words are not doing any harm, but that the words of life-giving words, life-affirming words, life-supporting words. And especially under our own roofs, in our own homes, amongst our own family, amongst our own friends. I see a lot of bickering going on these days. It doesn't help. It doesn't help. So let's dedicate ourselves the rest of the day, maybe for the rest of the week, to mind watching the thoughts that move us to speak. And be sure that our word is not our own. It is the word of the one who sent us, as Jesus said. No, my word is not my own. It is the word of the one who sent me. And that's how it is for you and for me if we want to ever awaken into our conscious Christed state. We are all born Christed, but we have to grow into the consciousness of the Christ. So we're all conscious, but we're not all consciously Christed. And that's our process. It's the same as saying reaching the Buddha mind, or the enlightened mind, or state, whatever the term may be, or however you wish to see it, or whatever you wish to call it. It doesn't matter. The thing is, do you want to be the best of yourself? Do I want to be the best of myself? I want to know that that powerful good in the universe, greater than I am, is within me, and I can use it. And I can use it for the good, and I should be using it only for the good, or not. It wonders me, and I'm sure it wonders you too. All of it, all of it. But I know that we are not our human selves. I definitely know that. And when you hear people say, oh, she's not herself at the moment, he's not himself at the moment, you know what that means. They're being less than in some way. And now we need to be more of our great good selves and not less than. Not just only for our own well-being and our own sakes, but for the world's well-being and creation's well-being and all of life's well-being. Because that's how big and wide and unlimited we are. That's how far our mental and emotional reach goes into all of creation. And it's affecting all of creation. My negativity or, my positivity. One way or another, I'm always affecting the whole of life. I have a great responsibility, we all have, to think aright. And as the scriptures invited, first seek the consciousness of heaven. First seek the consciousness of wholeness. And then we're told all things, if we seek that consciousness of wholeness and oneness, all of its gifts pour themselves copiously out upon us and through us. And every good thing is attracted to us. That's what we're told. So all we have to do is to be our best selves, to flourish and to thrive in an unimaginable, unbelievable, amazingly awesome, wondrous, and beautiful way. Why would we deprive ourselves of that? Why do we deprive ourselves of that? I think sometimes we're a bit of a masochist when we treat ourselves so badly, and others too. But we don't have to, and that's why we're in spiritual community, to do it together, because, as one individual we're great, but together we're mighty, 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 we're super duper, And if we would all don the capes of super beings and realize that when we don the cape, we have to be what we look like, what we're representing, and be it. So much gets done, cleaned up, cleared up, mended, fixed, healed, put together again, better than ever before. We're master builders, you and I. We're always building something. But I'd like to think we're building something of beauty and something that is of a lasting nature, something we can stand back from and be proud of and feel good about. Just think of your life as a building. And when you come to the end of the days, when you stand back and look at your life building, to be able to say, it's good and very good. It is accomplished. And then be on to greater things. Wouldn't that be a joy? I tell you, we'd all be sitting up and conducting our own memorial services if we could do that. Wouldn't that be fun? If somebody came out of the picture or out of the urn or out of the coffin. Everything is possible. But not in a macabre way, in a beautiful way, in a real natural way. And actually that's what happens because the soul of the person is still with us. And did you know that the veil between the two dimensions, this life and the afterlife, is very thin, and the afterlife is all around us. It's all about us. It's not out there, up there, down there. It's not anywhere. It's all around us and about us still. There's only one life, you see. But in my Father's house there are many mansions, many dimensions, Jesus said. And you and I are in and out of those dimensions. We don't know it most of the time, and especially in sleep time. We're not just confined to three-dimensional planet Earth, my dear ones. No. In meditation, it can happen. In prayer, it can happen. In all kinds. Just watching a beautiful sunrise, sunset, it can happen. I mean, it can happen in the most ordinary and extraordinary ways that you and I, bleed into another dimension, or another dimension can bleed into us. So there are no limits, my dear ones. There are no limits except the ones we impose upon ourselves. Wow. That's not, imagine taking up a whip and whipping yourself. Makes no sense, does it? Mind you, we did that once upon a time, a long time ago, in monasteries and convents on a Friday, to be in touch with the sacred suffering of the divine, which, of course, is not the will of the divine that we should suffer. But we human beings are capable of all kinds of everything, are we not? So the day is ahead of us still, and it can be anything we want it to be. Let us raise the energy up by the way we're thinking, by the way we're feeling, and by the way we're speaking when we speak. Again, I leave you with some of my mother's words before we bless our blessing. Never open your mouth to say anything unless you're absolutely sure that what you're about to say is more beautiful than silence. Didn't understand it as a child. Now I do. So, in conclusion, my dear ones, I'm knowing for you your best day ever, your best day ever. Please know that with me, for your best day ever, because it is whatever you're going to create it to be in your mind, in your heart, in your thinking, in your imagining, and in your visioning, and in your feeling. That's how you create your day. So let's bring the energy high. Let's raise the energy up. And in doing that for ourselves, guess what? We're doing it for all of life. Isn't that amazing? And so now we come to the point in our time together when we hone in on our blessings, our very many blessings, on the prosperous lives that we have. And prosperity covers every aspect of life and living. And in thanksgiving and gratitude for that, we know that the most self-satisfying thing that we could do is to give, because it is our nature to be as spirit is, the givingness of life back onto itself, putting in, giving. That's our greatest joy, actually. Our greatest joy when you can know or I can know, somewhere out there I have made a difference in somebody's life. I have raised them up a little bit. I have made their lives a little bit easier. I have made a difference. That is the sweetest joy, because it is the fulfillment of our spiritual nature. We're being our true selves in that way. So I want to thank you most deeply from the center core of my being for all, and I mean it, and you're not even aware of all of the good that you bring to our world a lot of the time, but you do. You do with your wonderful way of thinking, your kindness, and your gestures of appreciation and love and kindness and care, not just for yourself, or your loved ones, but for others too. You do great good. So I want to make sure you know that we know you do, and that we are ever grateful for your kind thoughts, your kind deeds, your kind feelings, and all the good you bring to our world, and especially for your financial support of our wonderful community, because without that, it couldn't be. We could not be the community we are. So thank you so much for that, and especially during these times, because there are copious ways we can share our good. And I'm grateful that you're choosing this to be one of them. And I know all of us in our own individual way and as a collective community, we are doing wonderful good and doing as much as we can for those who are especially in need of help at this time. So let's take our gift between our blessing hands and say, divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal and to bless and to unite and to make things better. And I am glad of this opportunity. I'm joyous in this opportunity that I can give from my good. I can share from my good so that others may be a little relieved. So I delight in the sharing of this gift. And I present it with love and gratitude and thanksgiving and appreciation and blessing. And so, my dear ones, until we meet again, and there are many ways we can meet, please avail of them. Until we meet again, I am knowing, as I know for you every day, that the light of God not only shines upon you and through you, but it is that amazing grace that guides you. I'm knowing for you that the love of Spirit that enfolds you, not only enfolds you, but it radiates through you as its point of love. I'm also knowing for you that the presence of God that is everywhere present is the dynamic presence in you, living, moving, and having its being, and you can trust it and lean into it. I'm also knowing that the power of God not only protects you and those near and dear to you and all whom you meet, but it also keeps you strong and able and masterful. And I also know that the wisdom of Spirit moves through your every thought, your every feeling, your whole life, and guides you. It is the lamp unto your feet and the light unto your path. And always and forever, I know for you that right where you are, I am, God is. And where God is, all is well. And so it is. So until we meet again,